bit of challengers yesterday. Damwon Gaming and Griffin first versus second.
Papa. And when he's not working, he's watching.
What can I say? It was also 8.2's debut in Korea. A lot of these champions were banned out. A lot of attention towards the Taliyah in particular. And now KSV jumping back on the Camille, so they have a priority matchup in top, a farm lane in mid where Taliyah is going to have to push. I think Zion Rakan just beat Varus and Shen in lane and the Sejuani. So KSV have basically a god draft here. ROX Tigers can do playmaking. They also do have the potential for Linderon to get attention from Seonghwan and recreate what we saw a couple of days ago, where enough ganks and just range versus melee, Smeb was able to overpower in the Na versus Camille matchup. But on paper, things look rough for ROX Tigers.
That they do. We're going to be looking towards Lava to have a nice game on Zoe once again, but then actually make something of it. I was joking about Songyun going 0-6 on Varus, but after looking at the draft from KSV, definitely favoring them coming into game number 1.
I mean, it's the prepper's nightmare, right? It's 0-5 Varus and 0-3 Zoe for the two primary carries. So on paper, but again, that only means so much. The opposition has been stiff in a lot of those games. We're not necessarily saying there's anything individually wrong, but it does represent not the hardest carry for, you know, in the terms of the Varus, bit of a different champion to the Kog'Maw they're used to. Also, not as much playmaking in the mid lane. The Galio has been the strongest we've seen from Lava. Is Azir also. It's different styles, but I do look at the draft from KSV, see a very fearsome 5-man draft with just the most wombo engage, and I do quiver if I'm ROX Tigers.
The combination of Core JJ and Ambition's aggression is going to be very fierce. Let's jump into game number 1 and see how it all goes down. ROX Tigers versus KSV. It's good to have Crown back on Taliyah once again. He hasn't played any Taliyah so far in the LCK 2018 spring.
He was the man who brought it back into the meta, but in a tournament not a lot of people caught. That was IM Gyeonggi just after Worlds 2016, where Taliyah had that really big nerf to her ability to push at level 1, level 2. Wasn't played at Worlds at all. Maybe one game, but I believe 0 games in 2016. And then Crown brought it back, you know, showed that there was a lot of flexibility in the build. Loves to pick up Leandri's early in particular, which of course now is a staple across most mid laners. But he's always been intrinsically linked with the Taliyah. His Weaver's walls are usually very, very strong. And you think about what we've criticized KSV for in the past has been a lack of engage, too much scaling, a little bit of passivity. This draft kind of has everything you want in terms of very good bridges from the early game to the mid game, very strong engage to not allow games to be stalled out, which is another problem KSV have dealt with. This is the sort of draft that I think an analyst can nod their head and say, there's a lot going on here and it's all very positive. ROX Tigers also do have great siege, some strong lanes, and the ability to play make with Key and Seonghwan. And to me, Seonghwan is their most important player this year, which for a player that I'm sure most people wouldn't even have remembered his name in 2017. If you look at stats, he's actually got the #1 first blood percentage of any starter in the league in any role. He's at 60%. First blood percentage, great ganks around the top side, snowballing Linderon. When Seonghwan snowballs Linderon, those are the games that we actually see as wins for ROX. His first aggressive trade, bot side.
Very aggressive here was Key, actually. After getting knocked up, decided to run straight at the Xayah, and nothing really happens from that. They were trying to make use of the level 2 advantage, but shortly after did Songyun and Key get level 2 as well.
Ambition going to got the Scuttle Crab to give a bit of insurance to Camille.
Hilariously easy as Sejuani, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Gotta love that passive. Something that I think when the Sejuani nerfs come out, I would love to see. Just a little bit of a tone down, makes her early clear a little bit too safe. Speaking of tone downs, having a roam down bottom.
Using that passive, look at how fast Crown gets down to the bottom lane, already blowing the flash, but they're looking for Key, funnily enough. Now we're gonna have a bunch of damage come back out. Crown using the flash and Ruler having to blow his heal. A bit of a roam gone wrong there, Papa.
And then Aftershock proc came in as well, the ignite from Key. You're right, has to flash very awkwardly. Has the unsealed spellbook, so the CDR certainly will be there, can just teleport back to lane. something about Taliyah we haven't really considered is with the Unsealed Spellbook in particular, there's no punishment for a level 3 roam because you can just switch over to teleport, come straight back to lane, and didn't even miss a minion of wave of creeps in the mid lane.
Yeah, he's going to be able to clean up that mid lane now and catch back up to the Zoe. It's especially useful for someone like a Taliyah or maybe an Aurelion Sol. Doesn't have that much game potential at level 3, but especially that Taliyah. And maybe that's part of the reason why she's coming back now in 8.2. Unsealed Spellbook, of course, no change on 8.2. We're going to have to wait for 8.3 for that one.
Yeah, the summon as well CDR will be toned down later, but not right now. Did see that historically, KSV have had the wood over the ROX Tigers, but we only include 2017, given the ROX Tigers lineup now is much more relevant talking about 2017 than previous to that, so appreciate SpoTV for not including 2016 stats there that will continue to skew it the way of ROX. Ambition finds Sungwon.
No buffs on either of the junglers.
Unsealed Spellbook on Sejuani. That's a very interesting choice. We usually see either Aftershock or Fleet Footwork. Now, Aftershock for Sejuani was actually nerfed pretty significantly. For a lot of other champions, it's stronger because you get flat resist in the early game, but because Sejuani's passive is so strong and gives so many resists early, the percentage armor and magic resist was better for her at basically every point in the game than the new side. So Aftershock not opted in for. Fleet Footwork will be aggressive. And speaking of aggression.
Yeah, we got an engage down in the bottom lane. Didn't see the entirety of that, but first blood goes over to KSV on the Rakan.
Very risky to go that far up the lane with no flash on Songyun and no combat summoner on Key either. Shen does not offer much in the 2v2 if his taunt misses. That's just a laning mistake, I would say, as they look for even more.
Yeah, it's getting taunted up there. Trying to see if they can get some extra damage, stop him from freezing that. Cute little trouble bubble ambition.
He's too fat.
He can't get through. He's stuck.
Feels
on the
so
wall.
bad.
I mean, that's what happens when you ride on a pig, right? I'm sure
I don't know.
Sejuani
Have you ridden on a pig before? Is this speaking from personal experience?
I'm not from that part of America, Papa.
Which part is that? Sorry, could you specify?
Well, you know, not my part. I'll just say that. We're going to get a replay of that. No, just the...
the Battle Dance into Grand Challenge was beautiful from KSV. Ruler flashes in. Didn't have to flash because, of course, his team was the one ganking level 3. That was clean. Songyun and Key aren't picking for lane in both roles. If you pick the Varus first pick, you are picking for lane, but Shen is not picking for lane at all. So a disconnect there and also a disconnect in their play style means that Songyun is severely punished. And BF Sword first back for Ruler.
Yeah. It's funny that even after getting the first blood, they're still down on CS as a duo here. Of course, Shen going to be picking up some of that with the Targons that he's picked up now, but we do have Crown coming down towards the bottom lane. He doesn't have that much mana, but he has enough for a wall. That might be enough. He's going to get Songyun on the right side of the wall. Finally gets his flash up once again. I think they were trying to get him right before the flash came back, but just got it in time.
Unsealed Spellbook Valdez, that does change the timer there. So they were even a second or two off in the calculation. And that was very likely to happen, but Songyun being down on flash again. Will it guarantee more CS to that of Ruler and KSV in the ultra early game, outside of level 1?
Oh. This vision is denied, and we got a level 6 ambition. There's no flash. They can slow him down. Stopwatch will save him for now, but can he actually get away? That Sejuani passive coming in. One more hit, and that's going to do it. Ambition picks it up. We got a TP coming in as well as Sungwon. This will be Lava, I believe. Does get the trouble bubble here onto KSV. The taunt on in, and the flag and drag will mean that that kill is coming in. Cataclysm onto Ruler now, who's only level 5, doesn't have his ultimate available. Lava looking for the paddle star at this point. Trouble bubble onto the Sejuani, a little bit more burst. Very, very close.
Crown's back.
Two men down there in the bottom lane. I call them men, but actually one of them is Zaya. The other one is Sejuani. Sorry about that. But yeah, Crown getting there a little bit late.
A lot of action in the bot side. Very interesting to track. Ruler not being 6 cost them a lot. Would have been able to look for the turn with the Feather Storm, but didn't have it up. Crown, like you say, had roamed earlier. Had a couple of visits. Gank timing was great with the ultimate because it really punished Songyun. and means this laning phase will only get better for Ruler. In the early game, as I was kind of trying to mention, the level 1's very strong for Zion Rakan, but there is definitely a lot of power just being a Varus in lane. From 6 onwards, when they have more engage options, they can zone the enemy team from the creeps a lot. Ult missed here. Very nice stopwatch from Song. He did everything he could to stay alive in all of this. But the teleport was really good from the Zoe, who had already started to walk down. So they had kind of approximate speed, but the teleport being there added to the threat coming through. From there, able to turn. Really nice instant kill onto the Rakan. Ruler was probably a couple of minions away, but couldn't use his Q to actually kill the minion wave to hit level 6, I should say.
Yeah.
What can I say? My pronunciation's off sometimes. And from there, again,
an honest mistake.
It's a 1-for-1 all in all from all of that. Bot lane, top lane's been a paradise, but it's been a paradise for Linderang with no jungle attention, and Sejuani being very conspicuous on the bot side. There's been absolutely no way for QV to grow a lead, and maybe we'll have to start reevaluating this matchup if we see more and more games where the Nara has actually been able to cultivate a farm lead over their opponent.
Well, we have come back into kind of normalcy here in this game. I want to see some more engages here in the bottom lane, especially because Songyun is about to get his flash up. Now would be the perfect time. You can see CoreJJ is thinking about it. Finally, Ruler has gotten a farm lead down here.
I'm surprised that CoreJJ is just rushed completely his upgraded GP10 item, so now has the extra health. In my perspective, just sticking with the Frostfang and kind of going into, say, CDR boots, so towards a Righteous Glory, and delaying the extra wards that are available from upgrading once you get the quests and the health in general. I felt like the cost-benefit might be there to kind of delay that item a little bit, but it's a nice straight-up purchase, so that's what we see there. It's also possible he didn't have his magical footwear when he actually went for the recall, but not going to feel the value of that just yet, as Rift Herald is claimed by Songwon.
Oh, we got Sejuani coming on down. Ambition looking for a gank, and this is partially due to CoreJJ clearing out all the wards. Look at that very forward control ward as well in the little corridor there. Also, Crown was making his way down. They know there are so many threats near the bottom lane with the Taliyah in mid, and Ambition with all of his summoners and his ult available. They're going to continue pushing. Another big part of Zaya's kit.
And we should talk about how this all came to be, because you'll note that KSV have bought red side control. Ambition now just going to be face-checking Songwon.
Songwon is able to get over with flag and drag.
But how did this happen? The game plan from KSV has been to control red side. First we saw the level 3 roam come in from Crown. That was the first time they controlled the red side jungle. Then we've seen repeated ganks from Crown and Ambition through the red side jungle. That means that now Lava's kind of petrified to poke his head around the Raptors. Songwon has also given up a lot of control around that area, and then the team with the global has controlled the bot side and been in position to threaten the roam every time Taliyah has gone missing. So it's a multi-step pan all the way from level 3, but it has led to this crazy pressure onto Songyun.
Look at this, though. We got a very nice little push up in the top side. A TP coming in from Songyun up to top lane. Lava does flash away from the Sejuani ult, a failed engage there, but they get the first blood turret up in the top lane with the TP and the Rift Herald coming into effect.
And Ruler takes a lot of damage from the Aftershock proc and the turret damage. Remember, Shen doesn't need Unsealed Spellbook to have his own teleport. He has Stand United ready to respond as well, so they could instantly have 5 people top lane with teleport on Lava as well.
Yeah.
So this is basically cribbing notes from BBQ. I wrote down in my notes, KSV were taken down by BBQ's unsealed rotations. That was what they were able to do, was Unsealed Spellbook, push out the lane, and then just double teleport top and end the laning phase for QV. Seems like ROX Tigers are taking the same inspiration with all the globals and the Unsealed Spellbook.
Yeah.
And they get out of what was a horror laning phase and circumvent also where KSV was strongest, which was mid lane rotating bottom, jungler ganking bottom, and now a first turret against the run of play means there's no gold lead for all the great early work for KSV.
Yeah. It's a thing, it's an important thing that you mentioned. It's something that's behind the scenes that is not obvious to a lot of people if you're not thinking about it. It's part of the reason why we saw, you know, Kongnu Monster, they coming in 2-0 against MVP in the first match, and we're like, holy hell, Kongdu's really good now. But actually, it's just MVP that was a little bit lower on the power scale. You need time to develop your strategies and see exactly where the teams are before you make any long-standing judgments.
And I'm not too surprised. It's been ROX as the team who have been adapting and showing us new stuff. Felt like even last year, ROX Tigers were the team to take the most notes from what was happening in the West and bring in stats that were good in other regions. We've seen a lot of this sort of play in the LPL. Ambition turns on to Sungwon.
Funny little skirmish, almost got him there with the knockout. But the flag and drag does reign supreme at the end of it all. And
Varus has collapsed down bot lane again after the long lane was enacted. So let's see what Linderung wants to do in this scenario. He's actually mid lane. They're trying to pressure with outnumbered members because KSV is just freezing the wave up top and stopping Gnar from having a lane to farm in. So if Gnar actually gets starved out of CS, which is very possible unless there's repeated attention top or they just try to collapse bot lane, that could be a big problem for the lane assignment for ROX Tigers.
You can see that KSV eventually does push out the lane. It's beginning to push that one in. Red buff, not a lot of vision around here for KSV. And the ward just spotting them, getting that red buff. But KSV have their sights elsewhere, down in the bottom lane.
And they have their sights on Ruler, getting a massive farm lead over Sangyu, who's teleported out of lane and also is playing on the side where they have no priority, to the tune of already 44 CS. So this is a big lead for Ruler in particular. So Kramer and Tucson on Zaya Rakan on patch 8.1 already just being among the strongest hard carry performances we've seen. 100% kills for Kramer in a game. Not kill participation, kills. And this is the same sort of pace we're seeing from Ruler, even if he doesn't have the kills like Kramer was able to get in the previous game.
Yeah. Not a good look for Songyun, who I already mentioned a couple times, is 0-5 on the Varus. Starts
could you repeat
today.
that one more time?
He's 0-5 on the Varus so far.
How many wins in his 5 games?
5 games. 5 losses, Papa.
So no wins.
Yes, 0. Sitting at 0-2 here in this game.
But not 0-5.
Yeah, not yet. We'll see. there's still time left, Papa.
He's definitely in a rough spot. They're finally going to rotate Zaya top lane, so they could definitely threaten a dive here with the incredible wombo engage KSV has, and they do maintain a small gold lead.
Key is he's farming up. He's got the first kill for ROX Tigers, as well as 38 CS. He's getting there. Our carry Shen. Songyun doesn't even want to stay in the lane. They spot Ambition coming in.
And this is the KSV special. Take a turret, and from there, if they can rotate that bot lane, they make League of Legends rotations look very, very easy. Ambition always in position to provide coverage. They take objectives. This is where KSV have looked strongest when they've been able to do this with this roster. It's when Ambition falls behind or the bot lane falls behind in a severe fashion. They're not able to end laning phase. That's where KSV actually looks vulnerable. Ambition famously not going to make a lot happen when it comes to proactive ganks, more of a farming, and as we can see, pathing jungler.
Lava is so on point with his Zoe. Really got to point that out. You know, we talk about stats in terms of game wins, but he always seems to be doing quite well. He's winning oh so slightly in the mid lane, about 8 CS, but also just his accuracy with the spells have really been great.
And I think he deserves praise. He's right up there for most improved player of the split for me is topside.
Looking for that again. Trouble Bubble would have hit had he not flashed. TP up until the last moment, but Ambition flashing away.
That was Linderung, in case you're wondering, as KSV once again has the minion wave in an awkward spot for the Gnar. Gnar has no coverage here except for one ward towards the mid lane. And it's against the global as well, but Talia's topside, so he feels safer.
Down here, and the ult comes in. Look at that. He's going to get
wards?
a solo kill. Linderung over KSV. Take a look at the item discrepancy right now. Not much made so far for KSV, a Black Cleaver, and I believe that his hookshot was down too, so he was just caught on up there. Linderung taking the solo kill.
Yeah, he used his hookshot for farming on the tail, and then we caught how the engage began, but the end of it was very triumphant for Linderung. Want to know, like you mentioned, because he saw Talia topside, he knew that he wasn't going to be instantly collapsed on, so it was never going to be a 1-for-1 and just soloed down KSV. It has to be feel good taking down World Championship top laner in a 1v1. And I see the replay here. So hookshot was down, we know that.
Yeah.
And then from there, very nice from Lindarong to get the bounce on top of Cuve, and then Cuve knew it doesn't matter if my flash is up, I'm boned. Great time on the transformation of the Mega Gnar. Just perfect stuff. Beautiful textbook stuff from Lindarong.
Yeah. You can tell that he has been practicing his Gnar. He's been looking okay, not so far. He's 1-1, but now he's got a 2-level lead over Cuve, as well as that item lead I talked about before.
And this is the point in the game where we have to bring up the what does it mean, though, for the solo. It definitely means a lot for his confidence. His items also reflect that, but now we've moved away from the Unsealed Spellbook, meaning globals galore. We actually have no teleports available for ROX Tigers as Lindarong's on cooldown. Now KSV does have the compositional advantage with the Weaver's Wall and also the teleport. So it's going to be a free Drake handed over to the side of KSV. Lane assignments are more tricky. We're going to have to see more of grouping phase from ROX Tigers here, considering Baron Vision, with Baron spawning in 30 seconds. But things get a lot trickier when the laning phase ends and you can't gimmick over with the Unsealed Spellbook, and they're turning on the lava.
Oh, lots committed to there. The Weaver's Wall coming in. And the engage from CoreJJ, blowing the quickness. Oh, nice trouble bubble here. CoreJJ and a flank from Seongwon. He's looking for it. The 3-man Cataclysm. Everybody's getting out.
Oh!
But look at Lindarong with the engage. Gets 2 of them. Caught up in a real bad situation. Easy double kill for Shen. The carry Shen coming through 3-0. But really the carries in that fight, Seongwon and Lindarong making it happen.
Yeah, the Narvin duo there onto the Cataclysm wall. Got the stun. Not respected by KSV. Both carries deleted in an instant, and ROX Tigers, they're just going to push up mid.
That was so fantastic, and it all started, too, because of the trouble bubble by Lava, making, I think it was Crown or Ruler very, very low to start that off, giving them the confidence to go for a play as aggressive as that.
It's kind of the thing that's lost, as you say, Valdez, is that CoreJJ was out of the fight very, very early, and thus was not able to impact it at all. ROX Tigers making it a very long map, and that Baron Vision they were considering at 1930 now can actually go a pretty long way. They already have outer mid, inner mid, and outer top lane turret. Here's the replay. So CoreJJ, quickness is down, his health bar is down, ult comes in, you think, oh, it's not going to be big. That is a massive ultimate into 3 members onto the Cataclysm wall, the temporary terrain, Weaver's Wall and the Cataclysm. So one ability by both teams can actually be terrain for the Gnar ultimate. So great stuff from Lindarong. Opens up the first meaningful lead of the game for ROX Tigers.
Yeah, part of it was that KSV, after a couple of ults blown, they were pushing down mid as 5 members seemingly didn't have vision up in the top side, and Jarvan was just able to get this beautiful flank from the left side.
I think it's just a lack of awareness. When you're in the middle of mid lane, you never think the Gnar ultimate's going to take you down, but that's what happened in that particular scenario.
Lava in an awkward spot here. Doesn't have his flash. Is going to be brought back. Nice little play there by 3 members of KSV.
And CoreJJ has the cleanse, so he can play make into the trouble bubble in particular.
Ooh, missing the stun from the hook shot. It's 2-on-1 now. It is 4-on-1.
Hidden ability.
Yeah.
There we go.
They did it.
That was definitely a team effort, because everyone decided to miss a skill shot, but they still got the kill. I'm sure someone in Twitch chat would be like, BM, but no, that was just some bad mechanics.
Exactly, BM, bad mechanics. There you go.
Shut up, Valdez.
Well,
that does slow down the advance of the ROX Tigers. Something I expected to happen more often, but creative play in mid lane has broken open the game after it was very much KSV looking in a great spot. CS-wise, Sungyun is also caught up, so that's other good news. So the cleanse with the Unsealed Spellbook is what I want to talk about. Cleanse on support's not an uncommon thing. You think of Tom Kent's just taking a QSS, for example. But Unsealed Spellbook allows you in the mid-game to switch to cleanse, and once you're done with your teleports and ignites for laning phase, cleanse can be so powerful because you look at the ROX side, the only job you have as CoreJJ is to tie up the backline, and one of the ways to guarantee that is to take away the first CC, reduce the duration of the further ones, and ensure your grand entrance and your quickness is in the right spot. He's also rushed Zeke's convergence, so we saw this second or third item last time out, first item here, to allow Ruler to do more damage.
Okay, Ambition throwing an ult to the wind because he got a little bit anxious there. Does get away with his life, which is the most important thing to take away from that.
Does mean the pass-through damage from Ruler is going to be buffed by the bonus damage that comes through from the Zeke's conversion. Still very not used to having this as an item in the game at all, let alone as a rush. So it seems like it's in the position of the Ardent Sensor that we saw rushed by Tucson last time out. So another thing to augment the power of your carry, but a different approach after the Ardent Sensor nerf is taken by Core JJ.
Seems to be an item of the month thing. See if it continues to get more and more popular here at LCK. You can see they're trying to bait at the Baron, and you can do it when you've got Zoe on your team. They're going to lock down Ambition. There it is, into the flag and drag, into the Chain of Corruption. Never-ending CC gets them a kill on the most tanky member of KSV.
You can see the first stuff from Core JJ was he'll get out of this, but no way to do that for Ambition. With all his tank items up, and didn't have ult to just throw out and disengage one. Means he dies. There's a Shen ultimate actually onto Songwon.
Songwon almost got caught out there as Crown says, oh, you're gonna flag and drag into me? I'm full health, but
Songwon's health bar is so important at this point in the game because the enemy jungle was down for 25 seconds. So keeping him up was something to at least threaten KSV having to face check and maybe some more picks. So just used defensively. Was level 11 was key, so at least doesn't have the insanely long cooldown to have to respect. This game in a much more fine position you might have imagined from pick and ban. It's more indicative of KSV's kind of struggles in recent series where they haven't been able to overpower opponents not named MVP. They do have a lot of engage here. They do have a very strong comp that scales well. But specifically Linderung doing well against QV in the 1v1 and isolated 1v1. And then the teleport, the creative stuff from Sungyun and the rest of the members of ROX to end the laning phase early has meant a lot for ROX Tigers having a more firm foothold in the early to mid game than ROX Tigers would have expected.
Linderung deciding to go into the Frozen Mallet afterwards means that he can stick on to that very slippery Camille. He's also soloing the Drake. So I'm going to come in and help him out with that, but we do have a bit of a collapse now from KSV. They do want to challenge this. The smite comes in, and it goes over to Ambition. Give it even locking down Sungwon, as his team tells him, no, we don't want to fight, we just want the Drake.
A bit of a strange ultimate there, but second Drake means some stacking is working for KSV, and an Infernal will be the next spawn, and that's always something we want to highlight. Ambition needs to be respectful. There's a lot of pick CC here from ROX.
He's going to get caught out again. A desperate ultimate coming in. But again, there's so much CC. A big knock up there with the grand entrance. But at the same time, can they do anything? The Cataclysm traps two, forces two flashes away from KSV. And a bit of sloppy play from KSV so far.
Yeah, from Ambition in particular 2 times in a row. You have to consider what was used to pick up the Drake. Hextech Ultimatum was wasted, and QV wasn't grouped. So he can't afford to be there when there's Varus Ultimate, Shen Taunt, and also the Trouble Bubble to respect. And ROX Tigers, they're going to start up the Baron. Ruler didn't have to back. Talia can weave as well. There can be 4 members very fast. They're collapsing now.
Yeah, they're not all that healthy here, ROX. Even the Zoe getting low, the Weaver's Wall coming in. It is going to be 5 members of ROX, though. They want to get them off. It's going to be close, trying to dive in. The Smite is going to get it, but they get a kill onto the Jarvan. Looking for Linderung, though.
Ruler can clean this up.
Camille getting low. The taunt in. This is so close. They're going to get down. The Zaya just at the end of it. Songyun on very low health, but the Shen ultimate helping him out here. Crown on full health, though. He's looking to take out these members in the pit alone. The Chain of Corruption comes in. Nice cleanse. And now with Ambition coming in, should be a good cleanup. We have TP on the right side. Can he help out? It is Linderung, one of the most farmed up members on the team.
Level 16.
Trying to get down Ambition. Crown, he cannot go 1v1 at this point. Core JJ now looking to get out of here. And a very broken up fight. The Baron goes over to ROX at the end of it all.
Just insanity. The fights go so long because there is 2 unsealed spell books on the side of ROX Tigers. That was just Linderung coming back into the fight, was able to get his Baron buff recall off. We get the replay here, and KSV don't feel strong enough to actually start contesting early. So ROX Tigers say, screw it, we're going to finish the Baron. Good smite coming through from Songwon for his death, but of course, the right choice there. Ruler can clean up this fight, but the flash taunt from Key is the true MVP because he gets the taunt flash and also has the W zone coming through there to start missing some auto attacks. So means not enough damage coming out even with the Zeke's convergence complete. It's a big win there from the side of ROX Tigers. A couple of kills cleaned up by KSV, but nothing one-sided. So they're going to have to play less lanes. They don't have 5 Baron buffs to ROX Tigers, but they do now have an even bigger gold lead as we go on with the game.
Surprising that Ambition stayed alive at the end of that one. Coming into the fight late, as he was the one that got caught. That led to that Baron fight even starting at all. But now we do have the press on in here from ROX Tigers with the Baron buff, looking for this bottom tier 2.
Yeah, and crucially, Linderung is one of the people that had the Baron, so they can play mid and bot lane pretty safely. He doesn't have ultimate, so he's grouped, and they're looking to break the base here, our ROX Tigers.
So many minions down here. A lot of them are ranged, though, so they can clear them out relatively quickly. Decent amount of wave clear as well. You look at Xayah and the Taliyah just clearing wave after wave together as a team.
But now, don't feel strong enough to actually threaten a dive.
Oh, what?
Unless...
What's happening to Ruler? He got hit by a paddle star underneath, but the shields are never ending. It's not going to be enough, though, to keep him alive. Sungwon is going to trade, but they get the 80 carry out of the fight, and that means that at least the turret is going to go down.
Yeah, smart timing. QV didn't have teleport up, wasn't able to be there. The mass wave clear outside the Taliyah is gone. ROX Tigers want the inhibitor. It's so low.
Lava's such a beast on the Zoe, man. He is hitting nearly everything. Gets Crown out of the fight after taking down his Banshee's Veil with the Trouble Bubble. Secures the inhibitor. And now they're going to be looking for more. ROX looking good here in game number 1.
And the coordination there between Sungwon and Lava after the chunk damage came out was real. Watch the replay here, because Ruler's full health, and then instantly flash ulted by Sungwon. That's the sort of synergy you love to see between your two players. That was the sort of scenario where we expected that to take many more minion waves, given that Ruler has pass-through damage to clear for days. He didn't have a health bar. He was taken down. And ROX Tigers cracked the base with the first Baron buff. And now the Infernal spawns in a minute 13. Will ROX be even in a position to react to it here? I don't know if KSV will be able to walk up, but ROX Tigers have all the options.
That they do. You can see KSV trying to get as much vision around the Drake because they know how important this is. If KSV can bring this to 40-50 minutes, as they are wont to do, they definitely still have a chance to make it back in this game. They're not all that far behind. Only 6,000 gold here at 31 minutes into the game.
It's been some pretty big mistakes too, largely by Ambition, who wasn't playing in their last 2 victories and may not be playing in game 2 regardless if they're able to stick the result here. Haru, of course, to pick up the double MVP on the Rengar.
Oh, so good. Lava knows all the angles, man. Geometry master on the Zoe.
And Sangyun also doing his role on the Varus. So right now, a lot of strength on the side of ROX. And really the only win for the side of KSV is that Ruler has hit 3 items. He's gone down 3 times, but he's been picking up the farm. He's been up in CS on Sangyun for the majority of the laning phase. Sangyun did teleport out, so there was a reason for that. But laning phase, good for Ruler. The teamfight phase has been a disaster because of the paddle stars and the general aggression we've seen from Key and Lava, keeping him in check. Haven't been able to engage a fight recently, KSV. They've been turned on each time, and Ambition needs to continue to pull back here as the Infernal is started by ROX Tigers.
You can see what Sungwon and Lava were trying to do there. Just bait him out with the Flag and Drag and then have him run into the Trouble Bubble. Had that landed, they definitely do have the follow-up CC to try to go for another kill onto Ambition, but instead, they just turn around, pick up that Infernal Drake. KSV did not want to try to go for that one afterwards.
In case you guys are wondering, no changes to the Zoe on patch 8.2. Didn't leave those out. They did not happen. Maybe happening in future patches. ROX trying to train down this mid lane turret. Sangyun happy to tank it up for a while. I think we're going to see the 5-man group from KSV. QV has been absent for the majority of these sieges. He's up there now.
Look for the Weaver's Wall coming in from the bottom. They want Sangyun, going to be jumped upon by the Hextech Ultimatum, but it's not enough. Fantastic Cataclysm on the right side by Sungwon. Traps down 3, and now we got Linderung trying to go ham. Keep an eye, though, on Ruler, who does just disappear. Don't keep an eye on him. He's gone. He going a little bit far into the base, but actually opening up another opportunity for Lava, and he even stays alive. Linderong comes out of nowhere on the right side. They're looking to take them all down. They're looking for the end of the game. This should be it, guys. Unbelievable. ROX Tigers looking to take game number 1 against KSV. They're going to take down this last turret and the Nexus. A very fiery, aggressive game from ROX, and they do it.
And ROX Tigers get the maximum value out of their playmaking in the early game, and then to